All of us?
And then we're gonna take turns filming, and we all basically just do our own style.
Oh, okay. Did you
Leo,
did
I
you
don't
guys
think we're
already
gonna
write?
need that.
Oh, really?
Did you guys
Just put it.
already wrote what you guys wrote?
Yeah, we sent it at the beginning of the class. We just sent it. We could probably do it now or
Hey, nice to meet you. How's your day?
感觉受了很严重的内伤，少林功夫。
不想晚上写作，
夜间花纸。
晚上要上3个小时的写作，好烦啊！
写作写什么？
不知道今天晚上 writing，不知道 writing。
是让我们带可以写作的。
it's recording.
我没带，好烦哦，忘带了。
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
Oh, great. Good start. Hello. Okay. What a place. Well, let's see. Oh, this looks good. Let's try this. Although, you know, it's Ah, perfection. Do I need to sign in? Okay. Fine.
So why don't we save both for, I've got interesting questions too, Katie, but we'll both save it for later.
Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Yes. Yes. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. Tip of the tongue, the lips, and the teeth. All right. And so it's before World War I, but only barely. And so Major Barbara is turning her back on her family to join the Salvation Army, and that's where she's a major. So she's in the Salvation Army, not the British Army or any other. This is a role that I enjoy, but I did it in college, so it was a long time ago. I wouldn't ordinarily be cast today, but I'm hopeful that more mature actresses are getting an opportunity to play and give voice to roles that they may not. There's a very small selection for an older actress, so it's exciting.
I'm so interested about your role. Can you just give me more the information about this role?
About
in the story.
Oh, in the story?
Yes.
Okay, so I've chosen to do the very end of the play, the climax, what the play has been leading up to. And Barbara's father has been an absentee father. She's grown up with her mother. Her father is a munitions man. He's incredibly wealthy, and he designs all the
Can you introduce yourself briefly? What's your name?
Oh, all right. I'm Sharon Ulrich, and today I'm auditioning for Barbara in the play Major Barbara by George Bernard Shaw. So this is a play from, I guess you would say a play of ideas from the early 1900s, and I feel like it's very relevant today. Certainly it's exciting for me to get to audition for this role, because it is the role for a much younger woman on the brink of making decisions about life. But I think it's exciting as we expand our awareness. Sometimes more mature performers can discover something different in a role, perhaps.
I'm so interested about your role in that story. Can you tell me more about it?
Yes. So Barbara, raised in wealth, a very wealthy young girl, but she is drawn to service. She feels that everything should be about a spiritual connection in life. So she gives up on her family, her fortune, and everything, and joins the Salvation Army. And that's where she spends all her time. She meets a young man who is a professor of Greek, which is wonderful intellectually, but he doesn't have much practical application. And but they both enjoy the Salvation Army life, and that's her calling.
Okay. How did you get experience to accept this role in real life?
In real life, I began working on this particular role when I was in college a number of years ago. I was drawn to it because I actually went to college to be a minister, and I had some theological studies, but I found that I liked acting more. I felt that it was a sham to be telling people about their, spiritual life and about God when I was experiencing God in a different way. So,
Why? Can you tell me more about that?
well, I think it's very important. You don't want to mess around with people's spiritual life, and it's so important where people find hope, where they find courage, what gives them motivation, and not in a secular way, but in a personal connection that they make. So I was brought up in the Methodist Church, and I went to Southern Methodist University, had the full go-ahead to develop a degree in dramatic ministry. But after the first year, I directed a play, the Second Shepherd's play in my church. And it was very hard to understand. I mean, it's Middle English. I don't know why I thought that was going to be. It was a Christmas play. We were supposed to have a sheep, and of course we couldn't have a sheep, and that upset me as a college student. I felt we had to have a sheep, and when that was over, I thought my real passion is for the theater. It wasn't this direction. But I enjoy Major Barbara because she is kind of in the same situation, and she's making a decision about where to put her talents, energies, focus in this monologue.
Okay. Next question is, what are the similar and different between your role and yourself?
Well, I think kind of touched on that a little bit. I think wanting to find a higher calling, wanting to be of service, of use. I think that would be a similarity in the nature of the play. The interesting thing is that Shaw, as a writer, is very intellectual. He's talking about ideas. He's talking about arguments and ideas and thinking. And I feel like today that is so much missing in our discourse. We're all about oversimplifying, and we're not taking a step-by-step idea. So I like that's what he does. I tend to be more emotional than I think was his preference in casting and in the play itself. But I really like the ideas, the theater of ideas. And, I just read Marianne Williamson, have you heard this, is trying to get on the ballot to run for president. So, and, she's a great spiritual leader. I don't know how far she will progress, but still, just last night when I was working, I was thinking, is it relevant? And then I saw that, and I was like, okay.
What kind of a spirit you want to share with your audience?
I think probably a sense of joy, a sense of purpose, something. I mean, it's pleasing. There's things about spirituality that are aesthetically pleasing to us, in design, in flow, in form. I'd like to share that. I think the theater is a perfect vehicle to, embody this. Many similarities to formal religion, and yet I definitely see the difference, the break, and I think it's a refreshing break, and it's okay for it to be entertainment, and it's okay to lose yourself in something, whereas in formal religion there's a tendency to pull back, to be all inner directed.
What is the difference between you and your role?
Well, the difference, first of all, I'm 72, and she is, maybe 24, 23, 24 years old. So there's a real difference in the way that she approaches things. I remember that sense of energy and the sense of absolutism that is, part of being a younger person. Something's more cut and dried. It's this way and not that way. Whereas now I can see more modulation in choices. But her sense of being driven and confident, ultimately confident that she's going to make the right decision, that's what Shaw is writing about. So that's what I would be interpreting too.
Okay, so the last question is about one detail you just wrote in your film. What is the she converts to his way of seeing the world?
Seeing the world. Her father, Undershaft, is the big manufacturer of bombs, instruments of death, guns, horrible things, ammunition. And yet he really feels that he is providing for his factory and his workers a good life, a way to live, to have a home, to have something of their own through their own labor. And that it's powerful. People become safer, in his view, when they have the access to munitions. So that's a very contemporary, he would be the president of the NRA now, or president of something else perhaps. But anyway, for her, she comes around to see that it's when people are fed, housed, clothed, they're taken care of, then you can talk about salvation. When people are starving and in suffering, it's very difficult to give them they want the bread, they want the water, they want, so you can't even get to heaven in that mindset. So she begins to see that the way to get to heaven is through what her father has done, which is ironic.
Okay, my last question.
Yeah.
Okay, last. Can you just say something to the people who is suffering in the world? Give the suggestion or courage.
It's so hard, isn't it? There's so much. Every day there's some new, unspeakable tragedy. And I'm just reading that story of the Thai soccer players who were in the cave. And I think that's trying to help me right now to remember that there was hope, there was reason for hope, that there was a good outcome, even in the face of an impossible situation. So I don't know what to say. I feel paralyzed in what to do. What to do is learn the monologue, say these words, but it's none of it is simply solved.
Thank you.
Thank you. The moment the Mighty Range Royal came back to Bonjour, he saved our people. He and the Prince of Darkness, my papa, under shaft and Bonjour, their hands stretch everywhere. When we feed one of our sorrowing fellow creatures, it is with their bread, because there is no other bread. When we tend the sick, it's in the hospitals they endow. When we turn from the churches they built with the steel and the stones of the streets they paved, as long as that lasts, there's no getting away from it. And turning your back on Bonjour and Undershaft means turning your back on life. Life is all one. I never wish to turn my back on whatever must be endured, be it sin or suffering. After all, I felt like my poor old mother when I saw this place. She has more sense than any of you, only it wasn't the linen and the china and the houses and the kitchen ranges as she thought. It was all the human souls to be saved, not weak souls and starving bodies sobbing with gratitude for a crust of bread and treacle. But full-fed, quarrelsome, snobbish, uppish creatures all standing on their little rights and dignities and thinking that my father ought to be grateful to them for making so much money for him. And so he ought. This is where salvation is really wanted. My father will never throw it in my teeth again that my converts were bribed with bread. I've got rid of the bribe of bread. I've got rid of the bribe of heaven. Let God's work be done for its own sake. The work he had to create us to do, because it can only be done by living men and women. When I die, let him be in my debt, not I in his, and let me forgive him as become a woman of my rank. Glory, hallelujah. La 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 la. Ha 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 ha. Glory, hallelujah, hallelujah, ha 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 ha. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. la 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 la.
Did you want to shoot her?
Yeah, you can go if you want.
Just a minute.
Are you shooting me? Shoot. It's not okay, Ben. It's not okay. You're not shooting me. Shooting. That's not.
Like this place. If my dear mother had more sense than any of you, when I first saw this place, then I must have it. Never, never, never gonna let it go. But it wasn't the houses and the china and the kitchen ranges that she thought. It's all of human souls to be saved. Not weak souls and starved bodies sobbing with gratitude for a crust of uppish. All scrambling for their little rights and dignities. Thinking that my father ought to be grateful to them for making so much money for him. And so he ought. Oh, this is where salvation is really wanted. My father will never throw it in my teeth again that my converts were bribed with bread. I got rid of the bribe of bread. I've got rid of the bribe of heaven. Let God's work be done for its own sake. The work he had to create us to do, because it can only be done by sick, it's in the hospitals, laying down. When we turn from the churches they build, we must kneel on the stones in the streets they pave. As long as that lasts, there's no getting away from it. Turning your backs on Bodger and Undershaft means turning your backs on life. After all, my poor old mother had more sense than anyone. I felt like her when I first saw this place. I felt that I must have it. That never, never, never could I let it go. Only it wasn't the houses and the kitchen ranges and the linen and china. She thought it was all the human souls to be saved. Not weak souls and starved bodies sobbing for gratitude for a crust of bread and treacle, but full-fed, quarrelsome, snobbish, uppish creatures. All standing on their little rights and dignities and thinking that my father ought to be grateful to them for making so much money for him. And so he ought. This is where salvation is really wanted. I've got rid of the bribe of bread. I've got rid of the bribe of heaven. Let God's work be done for its own sake, the work he had to create us to do, because it can only be done by living men and women. When I die, let him be in my debt, not I in his. And let me forgive him who's become a woman of my rank. Glory! Hallelujah! I'm sorry? You know, I haven't seen the sheet. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of being ready to be ready. How about you?
I don't know about you, but I got this like days ago.
Yeah?
Yeah. And so I've never, like
Say, no, this is the way.
way, you know. But I don't know, it's a fine line, isn't it?
I don't know. I had something I was auditioning for.
Edward, King Lear.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which, like,
yeah.
but it's also like that
Yeah.
monologue specifically is
Yeah.
like on the list of like, don't do thou nature, my goodness, you know. But when you're auditioning,
Yeah, what do you
for the part.
what do you audition that's like that?
Yeah,
Who's
exactly.
like that? And yeah.
I ended up rolling with Hotspur.
Well,
Yeah,
good choice.
Which was close.
Good choice. Yeah, I don't know. And then anymore, I'm trying to think of the Lear that I saw at BAM, you know, a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And they just ran through that. I mean, the guy was down on all fours and he was doing, it didn't even matter what the words were, you know, I don't like that. And that's,
Are you excited for the Lear? That's
oh
on
yeah,
Broadway?
oh yeah, I really am. I mean, Glenda Jackson is, it's just such a lesson to see her. I was lucky enough to study with Stella Adler when she was,
Really?
you know, she was going to LA at that time, and then I studied with her here. And I just wanted to, how do you keep going? How do you keep so interested? How is it fresh for you? Because it always was like the first time, you know, that she was teaching. And that's tremendous to see someone able to do that. You know,
A master, like truly.
it was great.
An American master.
Yeah. It was really fun to see that performance in Iceman Cometh, to see, oh gosh, I'm sorry, that wonderful comic actor, and he played Hickey. I mean, he's been in everything.
The most recent? The one with-
No,
Oh.
it was a couple of years ago. He was in Angels in America. He played, it's so terrible. Anyway, he's a comic actor, and that's his forte. But he's playing Hickey in Iceman Cometh, and he could play that forever.
Yeah.
It was stunning. His commitment, his, you know, but I can't remember his name. It's horrible. But it'll come to me in the middle of my audition.
Of course.
isn't it?
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Oh, shoot. Anyway, it was a great lesson to see that, because I could see his joy.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
joy that I want this, you know, I want this so bad. Anyway, all right. I'm so, God, I know. Yes. Okay.
There's the Bianca, and we've all had many friends who are the Bianca, and I've always felt sort of outside of that archetype. I love those theories of sort of like, you know, even though that's problematic for her entire family, her father does not like it. Her father is not one of the people supporting her. Because that's the other thing, is women were sort of physically cast, and still are somewhat, between men as either responsibility or property or, you know, labor or sex labor. There's always other things. So yeah. Does that answer your question?
No, yeah, it does entirely. I love that you enjoyed finding Bianca, because I think that's what I also grabbed the page towards as well. Yeah, you know, but it's like thinking about it conceptually, you know, why, right? It's like, yeah, no, Jamie, do you want to take over? No, I'm good. No, that was my whole question.
Well, I mean, there's no good way to do it.
Oh yeah, no. The second someone finds one,
Yeah.
everyone will do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I hate when you find it, you know, like emotionally, you get there,
Yes.
and then it's like, you'll be in half an hour. Have you done it? Oh, you're going now?
It's a nice space.
It is.
Yeah, the addition.
It is. The wood paneling.
And so when you get used to that, then having to, and that's what's really wonderful about Shakespeare, I think, is because Shakespeare forces you, the best place to really learn a Shakespeare text is outside. If you think about like the Shakespeare's plays, they're all kind of outdoors, and you have the time to taste words, and you know there are words, and these words like spite, like the way that spite, the way that can come off the tongue, Shakespeare asks you to be grand, to be like the dead, to be the biggest, highest things you can learn. So it's a wonderful thing about that side.
what he had to create us to do. Said only be done. And I die. Let him be in my death, not my in his. And let me forgive him as he becomes a glory, hallelujah.
No, I don't like process. I don't know what, something,
Oh,
just a tiny little piece of dirt.
oh. Ouch.
Really hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I have no idea. But it's gone.
I'm next. I am?
I need to sync you out.
Nathan Lane.
Nathan.
Nathan
I
Lane.
was speaking of you next.
Okay, I'm ready now.
Great.
Nathan Lane. Okay, thank God.
Yeah, I've never had the pleasure. I've heard.
Oh,
nothing
he
but,
was
like,
great. Okay, wait a minute. Nathan Lane, be my guide that I got your name.
Hello,
Hello.
you're Sharon.
I am indeed.
And Tim, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Lovely picture.
Oh, thank you.
So you are going to be doing I'm sorry, my mind just
Oh, well,
went
I know
because
it's-
I see the last picture show, which I'm not actually, about a year ago, I did an interview with
The director?
No.
No.
The
Tim,
stars.
Sybil Shepherd, Tim Bottoms, Jeff Bridges, the book author. Well,
It is awful.
I know. Well, I just got stuck on Nathan Lane, and I couldn't think of his name
Okay.
forever. So
Well,
let's
look
go.
at-
Now I'm
look at-
really screwed up. I'm telling you, this is my whole thing. This is going to be, you'll have to take it with a grain of salt there. So, anyway.
So you're going to do Major Barbara for us?
Major Barbara, that's correct.
Okay. Now, you feel very strongly that this is a role you want to be considered for?
I do.
Good.
I think in the current, setting, that it's really interesting for older, mature actors to give voice
Florence
to.
Leachman, by the way.
That's it. Okay, good. Thank God.
You just let it go and it comes.
Excellent. Well, no, I had to text my husband because I couldn't remember Nathan Lane forever. But anyway, so more mature actors having a chance. And plus, this is something, it's like a mantra for me. I learned it in college,
Okay.
and I always kind of go back to it. So
All right. So when you're ready.
excellent.
Okay. Just give yourself a moment. Don't feel you have to rush into it. Just when you're ready.
If only I could get away from you and from Father and from it all. If only I could have the wings of a dove and fly away to heaven, but I can't. I was happy in the Salvation Army for a moment. I escaped from the world to a paradise of enthusiasm and soul saving and prayer. But the moment our money ran short, it all came back to Bodger. It was he who saved our people, he and the Prince of Darkness, my papa. Undershaft and Bodger, their hands stretch everywhere. If we feed one of our starving fellow creatures, it is with their bread, because there is no other bread. If we tend the sick, it's in the hospitals they endow. If we turn from the churches they build, we must kneel on the stones of the streets they pave. As long as that lasts, there's no getting away from it. Turning your back on Bodger and Undershaft means turning your back on life. I've never wanted to shirk my share of sin or suffering, whatever must be endured. But I felt like my dear old mother when I first saw this place. I felt that I must have it, that never, never, never could I let it go. Only it wasn't the houses and the kitchen ranges and the linen and the china as she thought. It was all the human souls to be saved. Not weak souls in starved bodies sobbing with gratitude for a crust of bread and treacle, but full-fed, quarrelsome, snobbish, uppish creatures, all standing on their little rights and dignities and thinking that my father ought to be grateful to them for making so much money for him.
Excellent. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. That was terrific. Did that feel good?
Yes, yes
Yeah,
it did.
It's a wonderful speech. It's a wonderful role for you. I can see that.
Thank you.
Well considered.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
So how did you feel it went?
Well, I feel, I don't know, I feel I accomplished what I wanted to. I think what I really loved was living with the words in this space, with the city and you know, just being here. I loved that. I discovered a lot of things then, you know, that maybe came across, maybe not. It's different when you put it out. But I really liked it. I like being here and saying those words. So, I don't know. We'll see. He said it was a good part for me, so maybe, you know, I don't know.
What do you like about the city? What about the city influenced you?
Well, I think I love the overused diversity. I mean, you know, when I grew up in Dallas, it was so homogeneous, and I just had to get away. I lived in LA for a decade, but I always wanted to do theater. I had to come to New York, and I had the chance to come doing a show. So, I love it, and I live in Brooklyn. I love to be able to be. I just try to be invisible, will you? I mean, like I'm having a moment here. Bless your heart. Anyway, to be able to see the arts, the things that we have the access to, and I love New York State. I've got to say, it's such an interesting place. We were just in the Mohawk Mountain House and the Catskill. I mean, there's so much here. It's beauty, natural beauty. I could go on and on. I mean, I really love, now I have the chance, I could say, okay, I can live somewhere else, but I don't want to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you think you'll get the part? You know, you never know. You never really know until you know they say yes. So I don't know. I do think I gave it my best today. And like I say, there were some discoveries, which is always, that's nice. That's like icing on the cake, you don't always get that.
What type of discoveries?
What?
What type of discoveries?
Well, just, how you can be influenced. A certain color of a word can change because of something you see or something you think. And that I had some moments like that where I've said the speech for, 40 years, and then something I said, oh, that was different. I never said it that way before. I didn't think of that before.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What prompted you to think about it differently today?
Well, I think that it was the stimulus of the visual and the heightened reality of doing an audition, being observed, being that heightens everything, and that can be good for discovery. So that was part of it.
How many auditions do you usually do?
Well, I'm here happily because I'm coming back into the business after 25 years of being somewhere else, and so most of the people I knew are no longer around. So, and I've felt, gosh, I bet I'm rusty. I need the experience. So it's really interesting, and so I don't, I'm applying in backstage, but I don't have a lot of auditions per se. So that's, and it's different. Auditions, sometimes you do a monologue, you prepare, but mostly there'll be sides or something if it's for TV. And, you have limited, you have to make connections very quickly. It's not as rich as this experience was.
Mm-hmm.
But, heck, I want to. I want to do more. So.
What were you doing for the 20 years?
Oh, it was really a shame. I was marketing spa vacations for leading hotels of the world, and I went to Istanbul to be in the hammam, and I was in Bali in the spas. I was in India, in Kerala, doing Ayurvedic treatments. It's too bad
No, and I didn't enjoy it at all.
It was great talking to you.
Thank you and the team.
Good luck with the audition. Hope you get the part.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that.
She wants me to export it. Solo. Eso era que yo estaba esperando, ¿no? Yo creo que cuando yo estaba decorando, yo tenía una lente.